Last question pre-break, number 8. When they are installed in a conduit with other circuits, 10 gauge THHN/THWN circuit conductors can carry how many amps? There's a total of 32 current carrying conductors in the conduit. Wow, somebody was sick. The conduit run is 20 feet from the panel to a pull box. The conduit is located above a ceiling where temperature is 125 degrees Fahrenheit. Don't forget to use table 310.16 in the 90 degree Celsius column. Wow, they gave us some great superfluous and extra information, as well as some useful information in there that really helps us out. Okay, so we're talking about 10 gauge THHN/THWN circuit conductors here. We're talking about 32 of them. The run is 20 feet from the panel to the pull box. All they're really saying here is the nipple rule doesn't apply, right? Because it's a 20-foot run. That's basically what they're going to tell us. So we do need to do some deration work. The conduit is located above the ceiling where the temperature is 125 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, and then they let us know that we can use the 90 degrees Celsius column. Oh, that's fantastic. Thanks for letting us know. Okay, so I have 32 current carrying conductors. Lord Almighty, let's go. So we're going to start our journey here in 310.16, our holy grail. Okay, the holy grail of tables. And we're going to figure out what that number 10 is worth. That number 10 right here, we got that asterisk next to it. Always you can check that if you need to for the small conductor rule information. But that number 10 at base level is worth 40 amps because it is THHN. Now, the question kind of gives us the information away, but in case you were wondering, it's THHN/THWN. So how do I do that in that circumstance, right? Well, remember, I can use whatever the higher rating is for purposes of deration, okay? So THHN comes out of the 90 degree column, THWN comes out of the 70 degree column, so I can use that 90 for my deration since at least one of my wire types is inside of there. Okay, now if you needed more information besides just the top of table 310.16 here, you can always cross-reference some information in 310.4. And in fact, I really recommend doing it because there's some great information about some of the different insulations inside of 310.4. Okay, certain conductors in certain situations will have different ratings. THW, for instance, in a dry and wet location, it might be worth 75 degrees. But in special applications, maybe it's worth 90 degrees. Okay, so I can check all of my insulation ratings inside of here. THHN being, our most popular these days. But some conductors, like XHHW, for instance, 90 degrees in dry and damp locations or 75 in wet locations. So you're going to have to check that occasionally. It could come up on a question. So just remember 310.4 exists. So we got the info. It's worth 40 amps. We're doing it in the 90 degree columns because I can start my deration there. Ultimately, my terminations are going to be based on 110.14. But let's get the calculation done here. Okay, so I'm going to start at 40 amps. Let's write it down. 40 amps, that number 10 is worth. Now, I'm going to have some derating factors. The first stop is going to be 310.15C1, adjustment factors for more than 3 current carrying conductors. In this case, I have 32 current carrying conductors. Yeehaw! That's going to earn me 40% off, and not in a good way. Not like we're having a sale on amps here. This is the bad kind of 40% off. So I'm going to multiply by 0.40. Okay, or just 0.4. That O is not really pertinent. Next stop is going to be the temperature, because I'm going to have to take another hit for temperature, where we get to these two lovely tables. Now, if you forgot, this table is generally not used. It's based on 104 degrees Fahrenheit ambient temperature. So most of the time, if not all of the time, you will not be using that specific table. Okay, higher temperature rating conductors, different circumstances. Most of the time, in fact, I would probably go so far as to say 95% of the time, you will be using 310.15B11 ambient temperature correction factors based on 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, this table reads like this. On one side, you have Celsius. The other side, you have Fahrenheit. Okay, so we are talking about Fahrenheit here. And then we're just going to go down and find our temperature, 125 degrees if I remember correctly. So we will be in this section. Okay, then we have a section that's based on the temperature rating of the conductor, and this works just like the top of table 310.16. We're in THHN, and it is a 90 degrees Celsius conductor, so I can use the 90 degrees Celsius column. And then I just cross reference those two, and I will come out with an adjustment factor of 0.76. Add that into my calculation. Times 0.76. Well, I think we got there, so let's see what this 10 gauge conductor is really worth. I'll take that 40 amps at its base level. I'll multiply that by 0.4, ouch, and then I'll multiply it again by 0.76, ouch. 12.16 measly amps. My poor 10. What a sad day. Oof, that's gonna hurt.